The ketones don't matter. They don't matter at all. So many people are obsessing over their blood ketone levels and actually harming their ability to progress with fat loss because of it. We are hyper focusing on the wrong metric. So I've talked about this for years, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Quit obsessing over the dang blood ketones. You started doing a ketogenic diet, you've heard that it's a high fat diet, right? People are telling you, you got to increase the fat, you've got to restrict the protein and restrict the carbs. You've been misled. First of all, protein is not to be feared. Way too many people are afraid to get sufficient protein. Most people who think they should be concerned about having too much protein or getting what's called moderate protein to some people, or getting low protein on a ketogenic diet like many gurus will say you need. Most people who are worried about eating too much protein are in fact not getting sufficient protein. Okay, now protein has very important mechanisms in the human body. Protein is required for many things other than just maintaining lean muscle mass. Protein is required for the creation of many hormones, including human growth hormone. Protein is required for bone mineral density. If we don't get enough protein, we get sarcopenia. We can start losing hair, getting alopecia, which many people complain about on intense fat loss diets where they're restricting their calories a lot. Restricting protein is one of the biggest problems that people run into on a ketogenic diet. So first of all, get sufficient protein. I usually say get about 0.8 grams per pound of your lean body mass. Now, that's not too much, and it's not too little. Of course, some people can do with less, some people can do with far more. But that's a nice middle ground estimate about how much protein we require, especially if you're doing any resistance training, right? If you're doing any hypertrophy training, or if you're relatively active. Maintaining bone mineral density, maintaining lean mass, making sure your freaking hair doesn't fall out is important. Now, people are restricting protein in order to try to boost their ketones up. They're not realizing that boosting your ketones up isn't giving you some sort of a metabolic advantage. It's not making it to where you're burning more body fat. If your goal is to burn body fat, if your goal is metabolic health, we shouldn't be looking at super elevated blood ketones as a signal that our body's doing well. Consider on a carbohydrate-based diet, if you're burning glucose. You're not looking to elevate your blood glucose levels as high as you possibly can and maintain it there. Why in the hell would we think it's any different with a ketogenic diet? Of course there are benefits to having ketones, right? Anything above 0.5 is considered ketosis. 0.5 on your beta hydroxybutyrate levels in the blood. Anything above 0.5 is technically, according to the scientific literature, ketosis. People have become obsessed with pushing their ketones higher and higher and higher, competing with each other. Oh, look, my ketones are higher than yours. I must be doing better. I must be getting more progress. I can't tell you how many clients we've had come to us for both private coaching as well as our group community coaching and our Keto and Carnivore collective that we do every month. I can't tell you how many clients have come to us over the years who've been boosting up their ketones, guzzling MCT oil, chugging the butter all day, but are not getting progress. Well, that's because the ketones are not so important. Right? We need to focus on things like satiety, on our energy levels throughout the day, and on maintaining habits that we can enjoy and that are sustainable long term. Because if you want to do just a short-term diet, that's going to be a long-term failure. We've got to understand that it's not just about boosting your blood ketones. It's not just about losing weight super fast. And boosting your blood ketones doesn't equal more weight loss. In fact, what I've found from working with thousands of clients, both privately and in our group coaching over the years, is that when people are optimally burning body fat, when people are maximizing their body fat loss, if they do measure their ketones, which I don't recommend, most of my clients, I don't give a shit what your ketones are. Some people are very, very interested in tracking these things and monitoring, and if you understand there's a circadian rhythm to ketone production, if you understand that in the morning, your ketones aren't going to be as high as other times of day, right? That right after a meal, your ketones will be lower, right? That certain types of exercise can raise or decrease ketone levels. If people realize what and when they're measuring, it can be fine. But for the most part, it's a waste of money and a waste of time. What I found is the optimal body fat loss usually happens between like 0.5 and 1.5 on beta-hydroxybutyrate levels in the blood. And why are people so obsessed with getting like 3.0, 4.0 on the blood ketone meter? People are taking these stupid exogenous ketones, and that might be a major part of it, right? The marketing of these things, the multi-level marketing of like Prove It, Keto OS, all these products, they're like $5 a dose for ketones. When you're putting an exogenous source of fuel in, that you should actually be making from your own body fat. You're flooding your blood with ketones when your body normally titrates and regulates the amount of energy that flows through the blood. Just like with glucose, too high of ketones can be an issue. Of course, very few people will ever get to too high of ketones unless you're a type 1 diabetic. So even type 2 diabetics aren't really having to be concerned so much about having ketones in the blood. Though we definitely shouldn't be looking at these as a marker of metabolic health and efficiency. Ketones have benefits, right? Obviously, your brain can benefit greatly from the production of ketones. But you have to also understand that in the beginning of a ketogenic diet, when you start making those ketones, your body can't even use them effectively. You don't have the mitochondria to burn them. Your body is not as effective at breaking down and using fats for energy. Therefore, your blood often shows much higher ketone levels in the very beginning stages of keto adaptation. You will also be peeing out loads of ketones on those urine strips. It really doesn't mean anything. You know, I mean, you buy these urine strips, you pee on them, it shows that you're purple. You got the ketones in the blood. That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean you're burning fat. It doesn't mean you're using the ketones. It could just mean that you're wasting them. So we need to stop measuring ketones constantly and start measuring our actual progress. If you're going for fat loss, measure your waist, take measurements around your arms, around your legs, step on the scale. Understand that the scale isn't always telling you exactly what's going on, because there are very often hormonal changes when people will burn body fat and gain muscle. If you're working out and you're gaining muscle, you might be the same weight but have 3 pounds less of fat on your body. You might have improved your body composition dramatically and recompositioned your body. You know, so we want to measure what we're actually looking to progress towards. If you want mental clarity, right, and satiety and stable energy throughout the day, measure that. How's your energy? Are you not crashing at 2 o'clock in the afternoon? Are you not getting that huge blood sugar spike and crash after your meals? Well, that's fantastic. That means far more than having, you know, it's a far bigger difference to be not falling asleep at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's way more important than the difference between like 0.8 and 1.8 blood ketones measured midday. Okay, so save your money on the ketone strips. You can actually spend it on some better food, right? Get yourself some nice grass-fed steak. Get yourself some nice grass-fed liver. Focus on buying the nutrient-dense, unrefined foods to fuel your body rather than buying these stupid ketone strips from a pharmaceutical company. And understand that there's a circadian rhythm to ketone production, and that having super high ketones doesn't necessarily mean that you're metabolically healthier. It could just mean that you're eating a bunch of MCT. It could just mean that you're fasting. It could just mean that you bought some overpriced exogenous ketones from an MLM marketing company that's making millions of dollars off of your ignorance. So anyways, keep it simple, make a solid foundation of nutritional habits that you can sustain and enjoy long term, and understand that ketosis isn't really the goal of a ketogenic diet. It's kind of a side effect. You restrict carbohydrates, your body will get into ketosis and will burn ketones. We don't need to be measuring this constantly like some freaking, you know, like an obsession. You know, people are spending hundreds of dollars measuring their blood ketones. And what's it getting them? In many cases, nothing. Just confused, sad, demoralized, frustrated, and lower blood volume. No, the benefits of a ketogenic diet are manifold. There are many benefits. The neurocognitive benefits, the shift of neurotransmitter production towards GABA rather than glutamate, the decrease of inflammation, the stability of blood glucose, the lowering of hunger. A ketogenic diet can improve metabolic health dramatically, and the effective use of ketones is a signal that you can that you are metabolically flexible and healthy. But super elevated blood ketones doesn't necessarily mean something good. It's all about the C word. context. So keep it in context, guys. Quit wasting your money, your time, and your blood measuring your ketones all the time. Spend it on some good food. Create a solid foundation of nutritional habits that you can use to maintain your diet and maintain the results that you're trying to get. And if you're interested in learning how to prepare nutrient-dense keto foods, check out the Ketogenic Edge Cookbook, the training manual for low-carb, ketogenic, and paleo cuisine. Remember, as we always say here, your body, the fat that you burn can come from the plate or it can come from our body. And that's up to us. So the reason we made the Ketogenic Edge Cookbook was to train you how to make nutrient-dense whole foods keto recipes. We put macros on all the recipes, and we intentionally didn't make them super high fat recipes. We made them fat loss friendly macros. We know that a lot of people doing a ketogenic diet are doing it for fat loss. We show you actually how to adjust the fat levels in recipes in case you need to. And the goal is to train you so that you can do this long term. You can make your own keto foods. So the book's available on our website exclusively. We don't sell it on Amazon. We don't sell it anywhere else. You can find it in the link in the description. There's a whole section on how to prepare organ meats, the most nutrient dense parts of the animal. And that's our goal here, is to teach you how to do this sustainably, enjoyably, long term. How to do a healthy, whole foods based keto diet, whether that be a carnivore diet approach or a ketogenic diet including plants and fiber. Our goal is to teach you how to do it long term, to maintain it and enjoy it. Because it's not as complicated and crazy as people make it seem. We gotta keep it simple and keep it in context. You can find more at primaledgehealth.com. Way more than what you eat. Get out there and go live.